Good morning, everyone. If you all can find your way to a seat, we greatly appreciate it. We want to go ahead and get started. The weather has been very kind to us this morning, and we don't want to take advantage of it because we know the heat is coming. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. If any seniors or people who may be physically challenged show up and you have a seat, then please allow them to sit. But right now, I think we have enough seats for mostly everybody out here. So I'm Tanya DeBose. I am the Executive Director of the Independence Heights Redevelopment Council. And so I wanted to welcome you all, but I am going to ask Pastor Mackey to come up and open us up with a short invocation, and then we'll follow the program as it goes. Reverend Mackey.
Thank you, Ms. DeBose. What a joyful day and occasion this is to be in the historical Independence Heights. We're so grateful that each of you have taken time to come out and celebrate what we consider really a historical day. It's been really exciting just celebrating in the month of Juneteenth. And so, there's a lot of history in this great community. And so hopefully you'll stick around for the bus ride. And as we sort of tour, and some of that is shared with us, let us offer a word of prayer just in thanksgiving for this day. Our Father, who art in heaven, Lord, we thank you so much for this great day. We thank you, Lord, for the leaders of this community. We thank you for this great city, our mayor and our congresswoman. We thank you for Metro. We thank you for them being such wonderful partners and stakeholders within this community. And we just ask that you would continue to allow us to work together in harmony and unity, that all of our efforts would be for the uplifting of this community and the people of this community. And so we ask you to bless this occasion today. We thank you in advance for all that you will continue to do. In Christ's name, we do pray and ask it all. Amen.
Yeah. Come on up. Come on. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us on this bright, sunny morning. I'm Sanjay Rambhadran. I serve as the chairman of the Metro's Board of Directors. I want to thank you all for joining us today for the unveiling of 4 new bus shelters in the historic Independence Heights neighborhood. That's right. Oh, right. Wow. Some reflexes still work. All right. Before I begin, I want to recognize several folks who are with us here today. Let me start with Houston City Council member Carla Cisneros. Thank you for being here. Tanya DeBose, the Executive Director of the Independence Heights Redevelopment Council. The Independence Heights Super Neighborhood President Marty Page. Millicent Holliday, President of the Independence Heights Civic Association. Thank you for being here. John Branch, a community leader who has adopted several bus shelters in this neighborhood as part of Metro's Adopt a Shelter program. Thank you for being here. My colleague on the board member Diane Luder. And of course, our president and CEO of Metro, Tom Lambert, who, by the way, is serving the region for the 44th consecutive year in improving mobility for all Houstonians. We're also joined by Janice Weaver from Mayor Sylvester Turner's office, Jordan Frazier from Council Member Sally Alcorn's office, Maria Bolano and Daniela Castillo from Harris County Precinct 2. Thank you for being here. And Victoria Calvillo from Harris County Precinct 4. Thank you for being here as well. We will also be joined. Victoria is from Commissioner Briones' office. We'll also be joined in a while by Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. I want to thank our community partners for helping us invest in this historic community. As the first Black municipality in the state of Texas, the Independence Heights neighborhood is full of African American history that we are proud now to share on 4 of our bus shelters that we are celebrating here today. Each shelter embodies community pride, some displaying the Independence Heights logo, and sharing a little piece of history so we can all learn from history, stories that might have otherwise been forgotten. As the shelter on Airline and 34th, you can learn about Washington Stokes, known as the Fruit Man. He used farming to become a self-made entrepreneur right here in Independence Heights. At Yale and Cockrell, you learn about the first school for African Americans in Houston. These are just a few examples of the special history of the Independence Heights neighborhood. At Metro, we strive to invest in our communities that we serve. We are honored to make this investment, but also help share these special stories of perseverance and the pioneers of Independence Heights. Our president and CEO talks about a better walk, a better stop, and a better ride. We couldn't do that without partnerships. So we thank you for all of our partners that are here today so that we can improve the customer experience and the quality of life for all Houstonians. Thank you all for being our partners in this. I'd like to now bring up Council Member Carla Cisneros.
Thank you so much. 5 years ago, in 2018, this community was working and advocating with Whole Foods, who was about to build a new grocery store here, and we worked with them to help them understand what an incredible opportunity there was to celebrate Independence Heights with a mural on the side of their new store. And so when they put out a proposal for artists to be considered, there was one that just rose to the top and was selected, and that is Danny Esbury L. And he is here. Danny, can you just wave? But in his proposal, he didn't just talk about what could go on Whole Foods. He envisioned a number of other things that could happen. And in that package, there were 2 bus shelters that he had included that became the inspiration for this project. So I got in touch with Tom Lambert back in 2018, and I said, we ought to do this. We ought to. This is consistent with the goals of the Independence Heights Redevelopment Council. They have been laser focused. Tanya DeBose has been laser focused on preserving and helping tell the story of Independence Heights. And here, Danny had this idea of how to do that through bus shelters. So when I called Tom, he says, great idea. We need to pass our bond first, which is still a year later. He said, this is premature. Let's come back to that. So that's what's happened with council district service funds. I committed money to do 47 of them, every shelter in Independence Heights. So this is the first 4, and I'm very anxious to hear about the next 43. So and more, because we know there's a lot of bus stops here, and people right along here there are bus stops, and there's not shade, there's not shelter, and we really would like to seek help in getting bus shelters everywhere, because this is a community that's on their feet, they're walking, and we need to be able to have shelters, and they all will be needing to just join right in with this program that really celebrates the art and the history of Independence Heights. So the shelters that are in the historic core look like this one over here, that with a navy blue background that says Independence Heights, and then panels on the side that are specific to that site of what the history was right here. So each one will be different. Outside of the historic core, there will be shelters that reflect Danny's inspiration, with a theme that ties back to stained glass windows, and that's a reference to the faith-based community that Independence Heights is. So I did want to just say the mayor wanted to be here so bad. He has jury duty right this minute. People have said, really, the mayor has jury? I've had jury duty too. But so, yeah, city employees, no matter who you are not exempt from that. So he said if he got dismissed, he'd try to make his way over here. But I do thank Janice Weaver for being here and representing him. And I'm just thrilled that we are here today. Thank you, everyone who's come together to make this possible. We want to see it through. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you, Councilmember. I neglected to recognize Rebecca Reyna from the Northside Management District, another one of our partners, where we've done a lot more of the arts and transit bus shelters in the Northside, near Northside as well. Let me bring up to the podium. Make sure I got my... From the Independence Heights Redevelopment Council, our Executive Director, Tanya DeBose.
All right, again, so thank you again for being here today. I do want to acknowledge some people in the audience so that you'll know who we are. In Independence Heights, growing up here, going to the church, you see there are 8 historic churches that were here during the initial founding of Independence Heights, which was founded in 1950. It was started in 1908. But it was incorporated in 1915 by a small group of families that decided that they wanted to have the same amenities that the people in the city of Houston had. And so it thrived for many, many years. And in 1929, there was a vote taken to annex and become a part of the city of Houston. And since then, this community has been part of the city of Houston. But the unique history and legacy of the early people who pioneered this community, that spirit is still here. And so we are one big family. Many of you who've had the privilege of working with all of us, y'all know we fight, but we come right back together and we push for Independence Heights and what's best. And so I do want to acknowledge this morning a couple of people that are here. So I do want to recognize the ministers that are here. We have Pastor Reverend Mackey here. He's behind us here. Reverend Nathan Jenkins, he is with Providence Missionary. Reverend Jenkins, would you wave to everyone this morning? And so he's here with the Ministerial Alliance. Also, Miss Yvette Williams, Miss Mitchell, she's here. She is the principal of Boris Elementary School, current principal of Boris Elementary School. We also have Natasha Johnson. Is she still here? Natasha is the PTA. She is currently the PTA president at Boris Elementary, but she also works around the community to make sure everything goes in orderly fashion. And then we also have the former principal of Boris Elementary School, who is Mr. Jesse Woods. Many of you remember Mr. Woods, so thank you. We are one happy, big family here. And then also you've already heard John Branch, and we know that John Branch is what we call our own built-in police here. And so whenever there's a problem, we always call in John to come and help us. There are many more people here in the audience, but I specifically wanted to bring to your attention those people. And then also our senior program coordinator, Sister Beams, would you stand up and show everybody your face? She is here. She coordinates the seniors and the activities that happen at the park for the seniors. And so I want to thank Risha Sweet Tea for coming out and providing tea for everyone this morning. I hope you all get a cup. You can only, that's born and raised in here in the Independence Heights community. That family has been here. Cal is here. His great-grandfather was the precinct judge. All 5,000 households voted in this community because of that family. And so I want to thank the other people who are here, other communities, Acres Homes, Corville, Pollyville. Joanne, thank you for coming. Also the Historic Commission. So those people who are here, thank you so much for coming out. And we're excited, as the councilwoman has said, about this project. It is a project that has been a labor of love. What we want to make sure this project represents is that when we're all gone from here, that people will be able to look up on these bus stops and they will be able to see the history of this community. That when people are riding on the bus stops, they'll see pictures of the first mayors, pictures of young people in the schools, pictures of the early businesses here. And I'm not going to take this away, but I do want to share that as a part of the Emancipation Trail, which many of you have heard about, and I know the Congresswoman will reference very shortly. This adds to the flavor of that Emancipation Trail because part of the trail, it has to be recreational. So you can ride your bikes, you can walk, and now we can get on a bus and we can go from bus stop to bus stop and learn the history of this community. And so we're so excited about that. Again, thank you for coming. And thank you for being here, and stick around because we're going to get on these buses and we're going to go to 4 of those stops along the way. And thank you, Janice, with the mayor's office, for being here also. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. I'm glad she brought up the Emancipation Trail. This is about history. I've had the pleasure of riding on a bike from Galveston to Emancipation Park some years back, when it was a little cooler than this. Let me now bring up from the Independence Heights Super Neighborhood President, Marty Page.
Good morning, everyone. I keep telling them not to put me behind Tanya. If Tanya goes first, there's nothing else to say. But as I look around today, I see many of you who have been in the struggle with us since the beginning, and many of you who have just joined the struggle with us. But in the beginning, I need to tell y'all, it was just basically 4 of us. It was John Branch, Natasha Johnson, Tanya DeBose, and myself. And when we started this, it was a fight. It has always been a fight for the Black community. Let's not, sideswipe it, color it any other way. It has always been a fight. But today I stand here proud as a partner with Metro, overjoyed that now my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, if I can ever convince Shanice to come on, get on the right track, that they can also look at the bus stops and know what Independence Heights has gone through and what it has meant to me. One person that we would not like to neglect is Miss Juneteenth, who's here with us today celebrating. And for those young people that are in the community, in here today, in the audience today, get with an elderly person like myself. Yes, I'm an elderly person, and walk with them. Learn your history. Look in on those of us who are less fortunate. Make sure that we're taking care of this summer, and just have a beautiful summer. Thank you.
So I do want to add that today we also have our presence grace with Miss Juneteenth. Let's give her a hand for coming out. Come up so they can see you, Miss Juneteenth. And I do want to remind people that June, we celebrate the whole month of June for Juneteenth. And so this is what's important. And so I was glad that she called and she says, I'll come out to this event. And so thank you so much for coming out.
I get the distinct opportunity to kind of wrap up the conversation. And so as the chairman said, Metro is really excited that we have an opportunity to work with a great partner on city council, Councilmember Cisneros, who really took the lead to make sure this moved forward and used her council district funds to really help us expedite what we were trying to do here. Tanya, Ms. Page, all the leaders in this community, this is something that we really celebrate. Metro recognizes that transit belongs to the community. The more we tie transit back into the value we bring to communities, the more successful we're going to be in expanding a network that provides opportunities for folks to go to healthcare, to visit their families, to employment, opportunities of growth. And that's what transit brings to a community. So Metro is excited. I'd be remiss if I did not recognize the Metro staff that worked very passionately and diligently on this project. And I would always make a mistake by singling people out, but today I'm going to do it, and I normally don't do this. Sydney Scardino, our Vice President of Marketing, is here. Sydney, where are you? Cindy did a tremendous job in working with Tanya, working with a council member, working with the artist, and making sure that we reflected his vision of that artwork back into these shelters. And it was very important we did that. Making sure we work with Tanya that the message and the history that we want to continue to live on forever was really reflected in how we did that. So, Sydney, thank you and your team for that. Eddie Miranda, our Vice President of Governmental Affairs, is not here today, but I want to thank Eddie and Jose Polito, who's here, because our Governmental Affairs team did tremendous work in this as well, and then the rest of the entire Metro organization. But now I have the distinct honor to introduce someone that has been a strong supporter of Metro for many, many years in the United States House of Representatives. A leader that's really helped us get funding over $900 million to expand rail in this region and showing the benefits of high capacity transit and how people can move in this region. Assisted us in getting Homeland Security funding to make sure that we understood the core proposition in using transit is if people feel safe, if they feel comfortable, if they feel secure, they will use transit. And we have a commitment through her to make sure we have the opportunity to leverage that funding on a federal level with local money to make sure we can provide a service that is comfortable, that is safe, that is reliable, that's dependable, that gets people where they need to go. She's a strong leader for our community in Washington, D.C. It's my distinct honor to introduce the representative who introduced and authored the legislation that made Juneteenth a federal holiday. And I think we should celebrate that. So it's my distinct honor to introduce the representative from District 18, the Honorable Sheila Jackson Lee.
Thank you. It is good to be at an event that affirmatively acts to recognize the richness of the diversity of this community and of our nation. Is it not good to be at an event that is affirmatively speaking loudly about the value of diversity? Somebody needs to say amen. I am delighted to be here with the mayor, and that is in the namesake of Janice, and I thank her so very much. Thank him for all of his good works. Thank you, President Lambert. I like saying that. Thank you to our chairman of the board, our board member, Marty, thank you very much. Tanya, thank you very much. You're walking history, but you're walking action. And to Miss Juneteenth, it honors me to see you here because you are so committed that you are willing to put yourself forward to be Miss Juneteenth. Thank you so very much. Give her another big hand. Thank you to all of the Metro staff. Because of Tom Jason's glasses, I can see him very well, but all the others, let me applaud you because you have recognized what the value of community and affirmative action really are. Let me thank you, Mr. Woods, for pouring into our young people who are now scattered across the city and the nation. We are grateful for what Boris Elementary School did. And as well, let me affirmatively applaud Councilmember Cisneros for affirmatively recognizing diversity. And I want her to know that I affirm the individual budgets that council members have because of their vision and their service. And I want to see it ongoing. Give Councilmember Cisneros a very big hand. I'm going to take just a moment because it is Juneteenth month to be able to say the vision I had after 10 years of introducing the resolution to introduce the legislation, the first in the history of the United States to seek an acknowledgement and, of course, an affirmation of Juneteenth. Maybe it was because John Bland was whispering in my ear, and I cannot go any further without acknowledging him. He is both security, but he is also the history of this community. Give him a very big hand, please. Anna Marine. Am I correct? Army. I will step away from that. But after introducing the legislation, it was now to draw together diverse people to affirmatively act on something positive. And I'm glad that Senator Cornyn joined me. And out of that came the affirmation that recognizing diversity of history is important. Recognizing the diversity of history is important. And you wonder why I keep mentioning that terminology. As I applaud this great work and the federal funding that matches the artwork that Councilmember Cisneros is doing. The $900 million that brought you a broader and more sophisticated mass transit system. And the funding that we have just received, I want to applaud Metro for receiving the New Start money. That means that they're in the eyesight of President Biden and Secretary Buttigieg as having a world-class transit that they will continue to invest in. If you get a New Start money, as I have been pressing Secretary Buttigieg, that means you're on the move. And we are grateful for Metro being on the move, going to the Galleria, coming into the university area of Houston, University of Houston, TSU, and Independence Heights. You're not far out of the realm as we seek to go also to our airports. But I'm bringing this up in the backdrop of a dastardly decision that does not reflect Houston. Houston is an affirmative action city. It is one that recognizes the benefit at all persons. And the only thing that affirmative action stood for and will continue to stand for is the giving of a seat to every single person. And so I vigorously disagree with any decision that takes from cities across America and academic institutions from across America, yes, the constitutional privilege of being a city that respects equal protection of the law, that gives due process, that protects the vote. And that is because we include everyone. And it is misconstrued to suggest that race is denying, it is only including. And I will go back to Washington to ask for a vigorous assessment of why yesterday the decision was made in a very, very different court that would not allow the many voices that have been raised on the question of affirmative action to even be heard. The universities who said we were not excluding people. And to be able to work with the Asian community, Latino Hispanic community, African American, Anglo community, and make sure that when we affirmatively act, which is my view, that everyone is at the seat of empowerment. It can be done, and that's what was being done. Those universities were reflecting what affirmative action is, and that is the door opening to others. Please understand that in affirmative action admissions in universities, you first have to get to the door with your qualifications. They're not going to reach you unqualified. And the only thing that affirmative action does is to empower the opportunity for diversity. I reject the premise of the Supreme Court because affirmative action helps Houston. It helps City Council. It helps people find Independence Heights and say, I want to live here. I want to walk the trail here. And it helps me in the United States Congress draw colleagues to support the Emancipation Trail that was signed into law by President Trump. And we are steadily working with President Biden to now bring it into reality. You had to affirmatively respect someone else's history. And so to the Supreme Court, this decision did not help America, did not heal America, did not bring America together, because we were already working to do that. Our metro is a reflection, their board is a reflection of diversity, and I would say affirmative action, making sure that people are representing of those who are both racially and ethnically diverse, but also people who are in the disabled community. And I'll add to Gay, again, I don't know where this court is going, but it is deviating from America, Pastor, and the pastors who preach healing and unity, because 63% of the American people believe that there should be affirmative action in higher education admissions. The University of Houston is an example of affirmative action. You should look at its student population, and they are living harmoniously together. Texas Southern University, historically black college, is very diverse. The doors are open affirmatively to all. We must fix this. We must heal this. And we cannot constantly overturn elections matter. You cannot, as a Supreme Court, overturn precedent and make laws contrary to the voters who voted. That is an unconstitutional premise. So this morning, I have to now grapple again with the help that was given for student loan relief. Only $20,000 to give hardworking people, not deadbeats, just a chance to be able to leap into home buying, leap into helping their families, leap into life. And this Supreme Court, ignoring that elections matter, promises matter, has now imploded and destroyed the president's student loan relief program, begged on by many Americans across this nation. So I'll finish my remarks by saying I'm going to be asking the Congress to find a way to fix this. And I want those in many aspects of government to know that this doesn't affect you. It is a narrowly drawn case that deals with 2 programs at Harvard and the University of North Carolina. Don't use this as an excuse to close the door on the wide diversity of this great city, of the many small businesses, of the neighborhoods like Independence Heights. When you want to reach out to the East End, Independence Heights and 3rd Ward and Alief and Sharpstown and our wonderful Asian community, let's continue to embrace our Anglo community, the history of the Polish and the Irish. That's what affirmative action stands for. And the element of race is just an extension of that diversity. It is not hatefulness. It is not anger. It is really beauty to look at us in the mosaic that we are. So these wonderful murals, of which Houston has come to be in love with, Councilmember Cisneros, so you're right in step with everything. We are now lovers of murals. And thank you to Metro and to Tom Lambert and the board and Chairman Sanjay and our board member and all of you for recognizing that if anything is said about Houston, Texas, we are uniquely different. We walk our own pathway and our own emancipation trail. We ride our own train in our own spirit and our own embrace to make a difference in this nation. I'm proud to go back to Houston. I'm here. Back to Washington. I'll go around the corner and come to Houston. Back to Washington with this story. And let it be an example to go across the nation. Let it be an example for the U.S. Department of Transportation. Hey, look what's happening in Houston, Texas. We accept and affirm diversity, and we affirmatively act. We believe in affirmative action. And you drink up that tea because he is a living example of good affirmative action. He's acted and made some darn good tea. Thank you all so very much for allowing me this moment to bring to the fullness of what we're doing today, the fullness of what this means. This is not something right here on the corner near 33rd. It's going to the United States of America. It's going to Washington. It's going to be heard and seen as a rebuttal to decisions that undermine who we are. Thank you all so very much. I'm very proud of the work that you're doing. Let me provide this. I don't think the ribbon may have been cut already. But in any event, if you all would come and just accept this, everybody. All right. They want us to come out.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you all.
We're going to do a ribbon cutting, right?
Thank you. Okay.
Ribbon cutting?
Let's do questions first, and then we'll do the ribbon cutting.
I'll cut them off.
Congressman, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure.
We're going to walk across for a ribbon cutting, but before we do that, if there are any questions, we'll take them before we head across. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. This is just the beginning as we implement the Metro Next program, and we've already completed 4,000 bus pads, and we'll be doing more in the coming months and years.